Okay, so this is a 180 multi-voice number one. Proper names: Warehouse A, Robert Dean, Andy, Jaime, Mr. Cooper, Tri-State, Cortez, deposition exhibit number one. I'm Mr. Powers.
The witness,
Mr. Bramblett.
I'm Mr. Powers.
the witness,
Mr. Bramblett.
I'm still not sure I understand. I'm sure the jury wouldn't understand. What does the 85% refer to?
on the time they wanted us to finish the order they give us.
Let me see if I can work this out. They will give you 100 boxes to pull and give you a time within which you have to pull it. Is that what you are saying?
Yes,
And then what does the 85% refer to?
the time.
85% of the time they set for it.
Yes.
So if they tell you you need to pull the boxes within 20 minutes, you really only have, and that is considered 100%?
Yes.
Really, if you pull the boxes within whatever, 23 or 24 minutes, that would be acceptable?
Well, it would affect your record.
I think what he is saying is they give you a set amount of boxes, but they can only get about 85% of those boxes in the amount of time they were given. They can't get 100% in the time limit that was allotted.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, more or less.
You aren't really saying you couldn't get that amount of boxes. You are saying what the company does is set 85% standard, right?
Yes.
When you first got hired, were you subject to an 85% standard?
No, I was on probation.
When you were on probation, what kind of standard, what kind of percentage did you have to meet?
I think it was about 65%.
When you first got hired, were you hired full-time or part-time?
Part-time.
How long did you remain part-time?
I think it was about 3 months probation for me until I became a full-timer.
How much?
3 months.
While you were part-time, approximately how many hours a week were you working?
65, 70.
Hours a week?
Yes.
How many hours did you work when you became full-time?
About the same thing. It was about 60, 50. It was more than 40 always.
Was there any change, any noticeable change between your hours of work when you were part-time and when you became full-time?
A little bit.
You got more hours when you became full-time?
It was more voluntary then. I had more days off in the nighttime than in the daytime because, say I started off in the day working 6 days a week, 1 day off from 8 in the morning until 10 at night.
That is when you were part-time?
Yes, I started as a part-timer during the day. Then I went to night shifts, still as a part-timer. Then we had 2 days off or 3 days off, something like that.
They have different warehouses out there, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Which warehouse were you in?
I believe it was Warehouse A.
Who was your supervisor?
In the daytime was Robert Dean, and in the nighttime there were 2 of them. There were quite a few of them. I really don't know the names. We didn't work, it was, just remember the first names. One was Andy, and then it was Jaime. I can't remember the rest of the names.
And who did they report to, if you know?
I really don't know.
Who was the superintendent of Warehouse A or the manager of Warehouse A?
I don't know.
Was it Mr. Cooper?
Yeah, I think so. I just knew my supervisors.
What would happen if you didn't meet the performance standards that Tri-State would set for you?
You mean the percentage?
Yes.
You were fired.
You were fired right off?
I think you had 3 chances, a few warnings for you to have their percentage. If not, you were terminated.
On the 4th offense?
If
you recall, how many chances do you get before you finally get fired?
I believe it was 3 or 4.
How are you advised of where you stand with regard to performance problems?
By your supervisor. He used to call you inside the office and tell you more or less where you were at. You had to pick up your pace, work faster for you to meet that percentage.
How often would you have those kinds of discussions with your supervisor?
I'm not sure.
I'm talking about just generally now.
Are you talking about other employees or him?
I'm talking about in general. When you were employed at Tri-State, how often can you expect to meet with your supervisor about your performance?
There was nothing on a basis. Whenever they called it.
Whenever you had a problem?
Well, they called everyone. One night they decided to call everyone in and one by one tell them their percentage.
Was that a regular occurrence from what you know?
No, not really.
And if you had a performance problem, it would be your supervisor who would tell you about it?
Yes.
Were you ever given warnings or performance problems?
Yes, I believe I did.
How many?
I'm not sure.
Did you ever get close to termination?
Not that I remember.
That's a warning that you received, isn't it?
Yes.
I will go ahead and mark this as Cortez Deposition Exhibit. Wasn't sure if it was a 1 or an I, what the heck that was. Sorry. And then there was a 5 there looking at me. So this is okay. Okay, this is 180 multi-voice number 2. Proper names Gomez's, Mexico, El Paso, Phoenix, Arizona, El Paso Police Department, Incident Investigation Report, Exhibit 36, Ms. Macias, Ms. Harbor, El Paso, Texas, Arizona, and Mr. Quinones. I'm going to be Ms. Harbor.
The witness?
Miss Gonzalez.
Ms. Harbor.
The witness?
Miss Gonzalez.
What happened? You went to the house and?
I went to the house and actually I went to the police first because I knew that they were going, I wanted to feel safe. So I wanted to.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation. Now she's speculating.
I went to the cops first.
Okay, and then what happened?
The cops came with me to their home and they were not there. So we went back to the office of the police station and I filed a report and this is what it is.
And then did you have any follow-up with that report after it was filed?
I received a phone call from the Gomez's and my son told me they were in Mexico.
How many days after you filed that report? Do you recall?
I don't know exactly, but it was.
Let me ask you, were you still in El Paso when your son called you?
No, I was already back in Phoenix, Arizona.
And did you have any follow-up from the El Paso Police Department regarding this document?
No.
Did the police department keep a copy of the order out of Arizona? Do you know?
I don't remember if they did.
But you provided a copy to them?
Absolutely.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of the incident investigation report that's been marked as Exhibit 36.
Your Honor, that's hearsay. And besides, I don't know, but I've never seen an original. But all the documents is hearsay, so I'm going to object based on that.
Your Honor, we are not offering it for the truth of the matter, at least to what the officer has written in the report. Typically, I know that's the hearsay objection in criminal cases, but rather we're offering it just to document that she did come to El Paso in 2006 and notified the Gomez's of her intention to take her son back. And again, they failed to inform her that she was no longer the legal guardian of that child.
Judge, I object to all of that. I think that the copy of the documents, if anything, prove that she filed something, a police report. Whatever is in there is hearsay. It doesn't show anything else as to what were her intentions that she called or anything like that. So all of that contains the report is hearsay. It was produced in another context. She apparently told officers, and all of what she discussed with the officer constitutes hearsay in criminal and civil litigation. So I'm objecting.
Okay, this police report is not being submitted for the proof of the matters contained therein. Thank you. I think at this point, Your Honor, we've gotten all our exhibits that I wanted to get in. Let me just make sure there's nothing else I want to cover with Ms. Macias.
I'm sorry, what was that exhibit number, Ms. Harbor?
36. Now, I want to take you to May of 2008, and I want you to tell the court how it was you found out about the order terminating your parental rights.
Somehow or another, I discovered that my paperwork from Phoenix, Arizona, that even though I had full custody of my children in Arizona, that I needed to transfer that paperwork and it needed to be validated here in El Paso, Texas. So I went and hired a lawyer here in El Paso, Texas, so he could transfer that right that I had in Arizona to El Paso. And when he did, he's like,
Objection, Your Honor. I hate to keep interrupting, but now she's going into hearsay. Now she's saying what somebody else told her. That person is not present in court. I'm going to object to all of that as hearsay. Okay, what I need you to do, ma'am, is just talk about what you did. Don't talk about anything anybody else told you, unless there's a specific question asking you for that. I need to explain. That's called hearsay when you're talking about things that people who are not in the courtroom say and where they are not subject to cross-examination. So don't talk about what your lawyer told you.
What did you and Mr. Quinones do?
We worked together to a point that I flew from Arizona to meet him at my son's school to pick up my son because I was sure I was going to take him home that day.
And so you went to the school with your attorney?
I went to the school with my attorney. I showed up and I said, I'm here to pick up my son. This is my lawyer. I have the paperwork saying that I have full custody of him. I'm going to pick him up. And that's when I found out the school principal came to me and said, I'm sorry, but...
Objection, Your Honor.
Again, don't tell me what the principal told you, but at some point during that meeting with the principal, did you learn something?
Yes, I learned that there were papers that had been filed and I was no longer the mother of my child and my rights had been terminated. And I had no idea this paperwork existed.
Objection, Your Honor. Not responsive.
And so what did you do next? No. This is 160 multi-voice number 1. The proper names are Mr. Gomez, Juan Carlos, Popeyes, City of Paramount, County of Los Angeles, Carlos Huerta. I'm going to be Ms. Ford.
The witness?
The court.
I'm Ms. Ford.
The witness?
The court.
And we'll start with the court and Ms. Ford in colloquy.
I believe that's hearsay.
Not offered for its truth.
All right, go ahead.
He told me that he knows a very, very rich company who is looking for small business companies like the one that we had to repair fire damaged houses. He told me that these people have seen the job that we was doing and they were interested.
All right. As a result of that information, were you interested?
Yes.
And why was that?
Because they told us that.
Sounds like it's going to be hearsay.
All right. Well, I'm still talking about your conversation with Mr. Gomez. Is that correct?
Yes.
What did he tell you about the two men?
Hearsay again?
Not offered for its truth.
All right.
He told me that these two men have seen the house and this company was interested in talking to us.
Did he tell you how he knew the two men at that time?
How he knew them?
Yes.
Yes. He said that he met them at the casino where he used to go.
Okay.
This evidence is not offered for the fact that Mr. Gomez did not meet them at the casino or that he knew these two men. It is just these statements were made to this witness by Mr. Gomez. Go ahead.
As a result of that information, was some arrangement made between Mr. Gomez and those two men?
He said he was going to talk to them and he was going to give them my phone number and he was going to help us to meet together.
All right. And did he have your phone number at that point?
Yes, he did.
Did you give him permission to share that phone number with these business people?
Yes.
All right. And you remember roughly when that was?
That happened it was Friday, 31st. Oh no, it was Thursday. It was Thursday, October 31st.
21st?
31st.
31st?
31st. Yeah, but the one who called me first, it was Juan Carlos. He called me at my lunchtime and he said that he had met with these people and he said that they are interested in meeting us in my lunchtime. He told me to...
Let me stop you there. did that telephone call occur the same day Juan Carlos talked to you about introducing you to these men?
No. The first time he just said that there was this company if I will be interested.
Was that a matter of a few weeks or days or two, or how much time went by from the time he first mentioned the two men to you until he had called you back to say they were interested?
It was like on the 29th when we was in the back house fixing it when Juan Carlos went and told us about this company. And then he said we might see them on Friday, but he called me on Thursday, and then is what he said. It was like 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Thursday.
Within a week then?
Yeah.
Very quickly.
And then he told me that he was with them, with the company at Popeyes, and that they want to meet us, my husband and I. So I told him we will see them in our lunchtime, and we was there at 1:00.
This is Popeye's restaurant
Yes.
in the city of Paramount?
Yes.
Just for the record, that's in the county of Los Angeles, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Counselor.
Now, were you told to bring any particular items at that meeting at Popeye's?
Yes. Juan Carlos told me to bring my bank files if I have some bank statements or something to prove that I have good relationship with my bank.
All right. And did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Just to enlighten the jury, did you bring the kind of file you presented to them at the time you brought to court today?
Yes.
Would you show us by reference, Your Honor?
This is the same way that I took them because this is heavy.
In the white garbage bag?
Yes.
You don't have a briefcase for this?
Not this big.
All right.
This is the way that I keep my files by years. 1999, 98, 1999.
So these are all your banking records?
Yes.
Your personal banking records?
Yes.
Now, when you got to Popeye's, who, if anyone else, was with you?
It was my husband and I. When we got there, it was Juan Carlos and these two persons.
All right. And your husband's name is?
Carlos Huerta.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, this is 160 multi number 2. Proper names, number 26, Eduardo Gomez, Ricardo Gomez, Gomez's, El Paso. Number 27, Manuel Gomez. Number 28, Virginia, Incredible Pizza, Gomez's. Internet, I Macias at cox.net, East Clay Street, Arizona, Ms. Macias, Yolanda Gomez's, Ingrid L. Macias, Mesa, Arizona, Gary Player, El Paso, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to be Ms. Harbor.
The witness?
Ms. Gonzalez.
Ms. Harbor.
The witness?
Ms. Gonzalez.
And we'll start with a question by Ms. Harbor. Move on to number 26. What's depicted in that photo?
This is my son, Eduardo Gomez, and Ricardo Gomez. We were parked in the driveway of the Gomez's home.
And did you take this photo?
Yes.
Was that taken here in El Paso?
Yes.
And does it fairly and accurately depict what's shown therein?
Yes.
And that was taken also in 2008?
Yes.
Objection, leading.
I move for the admission of number 26.
Objection.
Your running objection or a different objection?
Same objection.
And moving on to number 27, what's depicted in that photo?
My son Ricardo Gomez and my little one Eduardo Gomez. I took this picture. It's in the driveway and I recognize the red truck.
Who does the red truck belong to?
Used to belong to Manuel Gomez.
And does it fairly and accurately depict what's shown therein?
Yes.
And that photo was taken when?
2008.
And that was here in El Paso?
Yes.
Move for the admission of number 27.
Objection.
And finally, number 28. What's depicted in that photo?
This is Ricardo Gomez and great-grandmother Virginia. This is at Incredible Pizza with the, what was the word again?
Mascot?
Oh, the mascot, yes.
Who took that photo?
I did.
And does it fairly and accurately depict what's shown therein?
Yes.
And that was taken when?
2008.
Here in El Paso?
Yes.
I'd move for the admission of number 28.
Renew my objection.
And during the time of all of these photos, 2006, 2007, 2008, that were entered into evidence, you testified they were taken here in El Paso, correct?
Correct.
And you were staying with the Gomez's during all of those trips?
Objection, leading.
Yes, I was.
Were you staying with the Gomez's during all of those visits?
I would stay sometimes in their garage or I would stay in the spare bedroom. There's 1, 2, 3 bedrooms. I would stay in the middle bedroom.
Okay, and during that time, did the Gomez's have any way to get in touch with you? I'm talking the period of 2006 to 2008.
Absolutely, they did.
How did they typically get in touch with you?
Either by cell phones
or
the internet.
And what was your cell phone number during that period of time?
480-581-5015.
And is that your cell phone number today?
Absolutely, it is. I haven't changed it.
And you said by internet. What was your email address?
It was imacias@cox.net.
And how long did you have that internet account?
I had it for a few years.
That's not currently your email address?
No.
Was there any other way that they communicated with you during that period of 2006 and 2008?
Every once in a blue moon, I would get a letter from my son
And where was that letter addressed to?
to my address at my home,
Which is?
6253 East Clay Street, Arizona, 85205.
Ms. Macias, I'm going to hand you what I will preliminary mark as number 29. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
This is Yolanda Gomez's handwriting.
What is this thing that I just handed you, first of all?
A letter
Who is the letter addressed to?
to Ingrid L. Macias,
And the address?
6253 East Clay Street, Mesa, Arizona, 85205.
And what's the return address?
Ricardo Gomez, 2610 Gary Player, El Paso, Texas, 79936.
And do you recognize can you see a date there on the postmark?
It was February 21, 2006.
And what's the initial postmark to city?
Phoenix, Arizona.
The one in the circle?
El Paso, Texas.
And then you noted,
To Phoenix, Arizona.
I'm going to take out the contents of the letter and have Ms. Macias explain these things, but I don't want to mark these as the exhibits. So just we can show what I'm talking about. If you will describe to the jury what the contents of this letter were.
Do you want those marked separately?
Well, I'm not going to mark those. It's just so you can see that I took them out for the purposes of this deposition.
Okay.
This was my son's creation, and he was learning how to write. And he says, I love you so much, and I miss you so much, and I hope that you, I don't know what, and then God.
And you recognize the handwriting to be your son's?
Yes.
I'm going to move